Hey, how you doing? It's Michael Montgomery with Renzo Real Estate in Calgary, Alberta, and today we are talking about months of supply. So what is this months of supply that we hear? And we hear it on the news and we hear it in real estate statistics. What does this actually mean to me as a buyer or as a seller? And is this a metric that I should be looking at? The answer is 100% yes. It is very important, and if your real estate agent is bringing up months of supply, then they are sharp and they are with it. So let's look at what this truly means and how it impacts you as a buyer or a seller. So most of us have a pretty strong understanding of supply and demand. As supply goes up or supply goes down, demand goes up, demand goes down, we know how that can impact a market. But how does that fit into months of supply? Months of supply is basically how many months it would take to sell the inventory that is currently on the market. So for instance, let's say there was 100 properties on the market and there's 50 properties that sold over the course of the last month. Okay, so you have 100 properties and you have 50 that are selling. That gives you 2 months of inventory. So if nothing else changes, what you're looking at with months of supply is you're assuming that there's no new properties coming on the market. Of course, that's not the case, but it helps us understand the metric. So with 50 properties leaving, 2 months, you will have no inventory. So that is your months of supply. So as your months of supply goes up, then either what's happening is you have a large inventory and you have very few properties coming off the market, or you could have a smaller inventory and even less properties coming off the market. So that brings up your months of inventory. Increasing your months of inventory puts you more into a buyer's territory, right? And then on the other side, if you had 100 homes and 80 of them are selling a month, that's a ton. So what you have there is you're moving into more of a seller's territory. So either you have very few properties and some leaving the market, or you have a normal number of properties and there's a ton leaving the market. So that's saying that you're now moving into more of a seller's territory. So it's a way of gauging the market and the market conditions. It's an amazing metric to use, and it's very good to understand how that differs in your own micro community, also in your product type. So if you're dealing with an apartment, if you're dealing with a detached, if you're dealing with a townhome, these can all be different, and they typically are quite different in different towns and in different communities. So let's look at these months. What does it mean if I have 2 months versus 8 months? So again, if we have 2 months and 50 properties are leaving with only 100 on the market, then that means they're leaving at a pretty fast rate. Typically they say, and it's open for debate, that if you have 4 to 6 months of supply, you are more in a balanced territory. Now that is up for debate, because if you're getting up towards 6, it's probably starting to feel a little bit more like a buyer's market. It really is. And if you're getting close to 4, it still might not feel fully like a seller's market. But as you start to get below 4, that's when we start to feel, or that's what they say is starting to get into more of a seller's market. So as your months of inventory goes down, you start to move into that seller's market. Then once you go 4 to 6 and you're in maybe more of the balanced, and then 6 and above, now you really start to feel like you're more into a buyer's market. So there is more supply, there's more properties to choose from, and there's fewer coming off the market. So this leads to 7, 8 months of supply, and that is indicative of a buyer's market. So just think, low months or low amount and number of months of supply, you have a seller's market. High months of supply, you have a buyer's market. So when they're saying that there's 4 months of supply for a detached product and then 7 months of supply for an apartment style product, you can know, look, the market's pretty strong for the detached. We're still hanging in there around the balanced. But on the apartment sector, we're really starting to move up into a buyer's market. So these are very important numbers to know. Ask your real estate agent, what is the months of supply for the type of property that you're looking for? And you will get a very good understanding of where you stand from a seller's market to a balanced market to a buyer's market. Thank you very much for watching this.